damn it, Discord's got to update. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, just updated Discord real quick.
How could you?
I know. Such a terrible thing. How's it going? Skopika? I hope I pronounced that correctly. Or just Sopika? I'm not sure. Sorry if I mispronounced that. I got it? Alrighty. Usually we wait about 5 to 10 minutes. People show up. What is, I think we had Tails active last, so we should probably swap that back to Snuck.
Snuck.
Everything is reorganized. You reorganized the variables in the instance.
Yes, I did. I went and organized them.
I didn't know that.
Sorry. Putting stuff in correct places.
That wasn't a frustrated. That was a unsure. Listen, like what am I doing?
Oh, guess what? Twitch sent me another freaking sign-in code. I hate this. I hate Twitch.
You gotta sign in, Neil. Everything has been asking you to sign in.
Yes. I specifically hate Twitch because it keeps having to send me a text message.
The two-step authentication thing?
Yes. Like, every day. I ask it to remember this computer for 30 days, and it never does.
I would suggest dumping the cache on your browser. That might clear it up a little bit. Alright, let's see. There we go. Get my Mountain Dew game fuel. Or else I'm gonna fucking pass out. This isn't going to be too big of a dev stream today. For one reason, I am beyond exhausted. I have not been sleeping well the past few days, and I am really, really tired. So, I don't want this to drag out for super long, because I'm probably going to take a nap after this, or at least attempt to. And two, we don't really have a whole lot to show off this time. Emmanuel hasn't done too much work with the combat. I've done... Oh, excuse me. I think I've done the most work this week. I don't remember what all the work you did off the top of my head.
I haven't done much. I was starting that level select. stuff last night, but gave up.
How's it going, Ezreal? Do you use Unreal to make Infinity Stages? Yes, you have to use Unreal Engine. Unreal 4.24.2, was it?
Something around that. The last point really doesn't matter.
Yeah. At least 4.24. You need that version at the very least for the 3 and Knuckles update. Currently, our current version is also using that, but we are going to have to update that sometime soon. Dang, hope you feel better. I'm not feeling sick or anything. I am just exhausted, and I lay in bed and I'm like, all right, I'm tired, time to sleep, and then I just don't, and then I sleep until, or like I fall asleep at like 5 in the morning, and then I got up at like 11, and I'm like, all right, it's been about 5 minutes or so. We don't have too much to show off. I think I showed this off last time. Or did we show this off, or did I not? Or did I do it like right after the dev stream? The Wisp changer.
You showed them off.
I did? I showed the Wisp changer last time?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember that.
You did. Not a lot of things happened last time. Because we sporadically went through a bunch of different things.
Yeah, I know we went through the yellow Ds last time. We got a couple of Knuckles things to show off. And by a couple, I mean mainly one, because Emmanuel hasn't worked on it at all, because he's been busy with school. So this and the Sage 2020 version is technically still the 3 Knuckles build? No. The Sage 2020 demo was made from this update, a much earlier version of this update, and we're calling this update Colorful Combat. That's what this update is being called.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, we didn't. We only showed the uncapsuled Wisps. Okay, so we didn't show the Wisp changer last time. All right.
I'm pretty sure you did last time, didn't it?
Ezreal said we did not. Well, if we didn't, exposed Wisp. Yeah, this here's the exposed Wisp. It doesn't have a capsule. You can just take a Boolean and it turns on and off the capsule. You can still interact with it too. It doesn't really change anything. Like so. But they don't respawn unlike the capsules. So the nice thing about the capsules, obviously you can put in the main Wisp here, the contained Wisp. But one thing you can do is, if you want the Wisp to be a Wisp changer, you simply tick this Boolean on here. It's off by default, but you can take this Boolean on to turn it on to Wisp swap mode. And inside of Wisp swap mode, you can fill out this array here with as many Wisps as you want. So let's just put in like Ivory Lightning, Orange Rocket, Pink Spike, and like Black Bomb. It'll now swap through all of those Wisps. So we got like Yellow Lightning, Ivory Lightning, Orange Rocket, Pink Spike, Black Bomb. And you can have as many as you want, obviously, and then this timer here will dictate how quickly it changes them. So like, you want to change it every 3 seconds, they'll swap every 3 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, you know. Or you could make it insanely fast and put like swap every half a second, and it just sit there and cycles through all the Wisps. That's not insanely fast, but you get the point. And of course you can also duplicate Wisps if you wanted to, like, every other one to be red burst for whatever reason. So
customizable.
Yeah, stream. How's it going, Norman? And also, how's it going, Michael? I meant to say that earlier. Sorry. One contingency I forgot to account for is if the contained. Oh, I guess it doesn't really matter. Like, if you have it on Wisp Changer mode, it doesn't really matter what the contained Wisp is because it will always start out as like, like the contained Wisp currently is Red Burst, but if I don't have Red Burst in here, if I have like Yellow Drill, it won't care. Because it immediately swaps it to whatever the Wisp Changer is, so. If you have a Wisp Changer, don't expect this contained Wisp to show up. You have to put it into this list. Choose your Wisp. How's it going, Shiranui? So that's the Wisp Changer function. I threw that one together pretty quickly. I liked this one. This one was a fun little thing to throw together.
Yeah, that worked.
I believe Wisp can done right. Can work if done right. Don't hate Wisps. I don't hate Wisps. I think Lost World did it terribly, but I think Sonic Colors did it just fine. I think Wisps can work fine if you do them right. It's all about the context.
Yes, they're meant to be power-ups.
As far as I know, Drill only works on the surface. Yeah. Drill Wisp, whenever you're in 3D, will simply work along the surface. But it'll also like climb up against walls and stuff. Meow. Although this is also a good time to show off another thing that I have worked on quite a bit. Let's change that back to Red Burst. I believe my wallet could work if done right, but no. I remember last time we went over object interaction code, how I had altered it to work on an interface rather than a casting system, so that way more than one type of object other than the main character can interact with them, and that is still true. So let's grab Red Burst here. I assume it works the same in 2D sections. Yellow Drill does not work the same in 2D sections now, but we'll get to that. But Wisps can now interact with stage objects. And that includes the checkpoints, as you just saw there. Let's swap to another Wisp. Let's go with Purple Frenzy. Purple Frenzy. Every single Wisp has its own unique interaction code with objects. All of this is obviously changeable. I can show you how you can change it as well. If you want Wisps to interact with objects in a different way than what we have it set up by default, it's honestly not too difficult. I tried to make sure I set it up easily, but certain Wisps can interact with certain things. You saw with Red Burst, I launched off the dash panel, or the dash ramp, and I hit the balloon over there, and I hit the dash ring. But with something like Frenzy here, if I hit a spring, I'm going to de-transform out of it. But if I hit a balloon, it's going to pop me up. But if I hit a dash ramp or a... I can't jump high enough to hit the dash ring, but Frenzy will de-transform whenever I hit things, but that's just because we have set it up to do so. Will this be in the new Unreal Engine update? Oh, you mean 4.26? Maybe? I would like to get this updated to 4.26. But it just depends on if Reese can get the room in his computer to update his Unreal Engine to that.
Stop blaming me.
Hey, it's a manual.
Hey.
Will wall drilling be implemented with the drill wisp, like drilling through a certain section of a wall or popping out the other side of it? Drill wisp is probably... I'll get into this a little bit more later. Drill wisp currently is probably the most... has taken the spot for the most unfinished wisp. Probably right now. But we'll
yeah,
get
into the
that a bit more.
functionality at least.
Yeah. But let's see here. Let me refill. Actually, let me remove the wisps. We got neat little wisp cheat codes here. So as you saw earlier,
we've added in a bunch of cheat codes.
Oh, did not mean to slow down time. Red burst can interact with springs, as you saw earlier. Boing, like so. However, this time he did not. And as you just saw, I interact with two different springs, and one of them I was able to bounce on with burst, and one of them I was not, even though I've already clearly stated beforehand that burst can interact with springs. Well, what the hell was up with that? Well, it's because if you want wisps to interact with objects, but you want certain objects to take priority in certain contexts, you can actually tell each of the individual types of objects, like balloons, dash ramps, springs, dash rings, things like that. You can override the Wisps code by taking this boolean on called remove wisp, and that means regardless of what wisp you are, whenever you interact with that object, it will override and remove the wisp from your inventory. That way, if like you want, like for example, if you instead actually did want Frenzy to interact with springs, you could say, hey, I want Frenzy to interact with springs now. However, you still want like context sensitive springs that will launch you to different parts of the levels, and you want those to deactivate wisps whenever you interact with them. That way, you know, they interact properly. You can override the wisp as such. Do wisps have any interactions with water? I will get to that one here in a minute as well. That's a good question. That I'm actually gonna get to that one a lot sooner than the other things I said I would get to. I did not want to open up the Wisp Master. Let's open up Purple Frenzy. Why not? So right here inside of this function, actually, yeah, let's go ahead and look over here. I've cleaned up all of the Wisp Master code. All of this is super clean and organized now, much easier to read and understand what each thing does. Whenever you interact with, an object as a wisp, this interface event gets called, and the first thing it does is it calls this function called child object interact, and this function is empty. It's not used at all inside the master. However, it's a function that's being overridden inside of the child, so that way you put something specific in each individual child blueprint. And in here, we pass in an enumeration depending on what type of object, or that dictates what type of object you just interacted with. So springs are classified as springs. Dash ramps are dash ramps. Dash rings are dash rings, and balloons are balloons. And from here, we have three booleans that we check. First, we want to see if the object that we interact is going to detransform the wisp, in which we turn this is object detransform boolean on. And then we would want to check to see if we want to interact with the object, which if we detransform from the object, obviously we don't want the wisp to interact with it because it's being detransformed. But then we want to ask, will that object remove the wisp from your inventory? And this boolean here dictates whether or not that's true. So if you want a specific object to like interact in a specific way to a wisp, like hey, you hit like, like for example, you decided to create like some type of water bubble object or whatever that you can interact with. Something like maybe red burst or orange rocket you might want to remove from your inventory upon interacting with them or whatever. But if the object doesn't detransform you, but you do want to make sure the wisp interacts with it, you would turn this boolean on, this object interact. Yeah, it doesn't have to be on. For an example, if I swap over to like Black Bomb, for example. I know what that happened.
How would you break it on stream like that? Oh.
Wow, that's impressive, actually.
Black Bomb can overlap with springs, and the spring doesn't deactivate or remove Black Bomb, but Black Bomb itself does not interact with springs, mainly because we haven't gotten that interaction set up. Black Bomb and...
Yeah, you have to act differently because they are heavy.
They are physics objects, so... If you don't want the object to interact at all with the wisp, you just dictate it with that. And then afterwards, it's going to check all of these booleans and do things depending on what it is that you want. But it's also going to check to see if the object that you interact with is going to override all of that. That's the first thing it checks. Like, hey, is this an override object? If so, then I don't care what anything else does. I want to remove your Wisp right now and interact with the object. Which is pretty nice. Let's see here. To catch up on the comments, you can always use the Wispy activation zone. You could do that too. Just like, you know, it's multiple different options to go about how you want to do certain things, you know.
Yeah, upgrades, people, upgrades, or in this case, options.
Yeah, just, you know, just to give people different options. Will there be a snowboarding system? Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and other characters have their own snowboards. Probably not. You can do some crazy sick tricks. Bomb is just whack. Yeah, we're going to get into Bomb a little bit more here soon.
Bomb.
So
Mostly Bomb just needs more particle effects, but that goes for all the Wisps.
Well, there's other things to interact with as well. But I just realized that's a thing I could easily fix. I have also changed a lot of the collision with objects. Like objects and water now have their own specific collision channel. That way you can be a little bit more specific on what certain things can and can't interact with. If you have played the Sage 2020 demo, or if you've seen probably Minute Snippets or been paying attention, you probably noticed that Wisps like Pink Spike and Yellow Drill constantly climb all over rings and springs and dash ramps and all that stuff. But that's because their wall climbing code was checking for a certain object channel, and because objects... sorry, not object channel, specific collision channels. And because objects in the game didn't have their own collision channel, things like Pink Spike and Yellow Drill didn't know to ignore them because they fell under that same collision channel. But now they have their own collision channel, so things like Pink Spike can grab rings now, they can hit checkpoints, and they can interact with all this stuff without wanting to climb all over it and acting all weird and shit like that. Bop.
Yeah, and we try not to add too many collision channels, like for everything, because that gets complicated. But it's useful to add them when necessary, just to make things easier and make things less janky.
Does Bomb blow up? Bomb needs more attention. There's a lot of Wisps that need attention. Yes, Bomb does blow up. He exploded. See, certain collision boxes that come from Wisps don't properly kill enemies, but that's a problem we're looking at in the future.
That's egg on my face.
Water also has a new collision channel as well. Everything pretty much works fine on it for the most part. It'll also look for specific Wisps now. The water actually casts for Wisps. And currently we don't have any specific interactions except for Burst. Burst is the only Wisp that currently interacts with water, and it interacts with water by deactivating it. Because you can't be on fire and in water.
Unless your spawns pop up.
There is no water in the fire.
Wait, if we're underwater, how are we having a...
Are you guys there?
Yeah.
No, you kind of just cut each other off at the same time.
Yeah, we kind of just Sonic Adventure 2'd each other.
Yep.
Hey, that's...
Hey, that's...
Fake catch of all things.
Logan of all places.
So yeah, that's a lot of what I've been working on. The other primary thing are... let's see here. 2D sections, Wisps in 2D sections, which pretty much work now. Wisps in 2D sections pretty much work just fine now. They work as intended. They've also been balanced for 2D sections. Certain wisps that are super easy to gain like lots and lots of height in 3D are a lot harder to use or drain a lot faster in 2D sections. So let's go with Crimson Eagle here. Crimson Eagle drains a lot faster in 2D sections than he does in 3D. Oh, he fell out. Crimson Eagle still needs a little bit more attention. It also changes dynamically. It's kind of hard to tell, but if I swap to Crimson Eagle, you can kind of see the energy drain. But then the second I go into a 2D section, the energy drain starts draining a little bit faster. So there is proper interactions between jumping in and out of a 2D section with the Wisps. What's another Wisp? Magenta Rhythm. I don't think I balanced Magenta Rhythm at all.
Best Wisp, obviously.
Asteroid's a little wonky with his rings.
I do like that.
It's kind of weird. But they do change. Like if I leave the 2D section, the rings change back to normal, and then they change it like this here. Not quite as they need to be, but pretty close.
You're doing the Lord's work here.
Yeah. And of course, there's also Void. Void is much slower in 2D sections. Just because he's insanely powerful. Like, Void is probably one of the most powerful Wisps in general.
Yeah, one minor thing we could do is that we could make it so the material always faces the camera, possibly. Like it does. I'm pretty sure it does that in the DS games.
Kinda.
That would be pretty easy to do.
Another minor change I made to Void is... Actually, it's two changes that kind of add up to one. I wouldn't say nerf, because it's actually a pseudo buff, but it makes Void harder to play. I used to be limiting his terminal velocity so he could only fall so fast. That is no longer the case. He can now fall very, very fast. And I also decreased his fluid friction, if I remember right, which means that it takes longer for him to like slow down and stuff. So he's in general a lot harder to play, but you also get like a lot of, you know, value out of him. Can Quake break through Knuckles' walls? Currently, yes, he can. We don't really have a check to check that at all, but that will not be difficult to look for. You can't be underwater and on fire. Blaze, visible confusion. The rules don't apply to Blaze. No, they do not. Blaze is the exception to the rule.
Her name is literally Blaze. Like, how could it not?
How's it going, Mr. Spaceborg? I kind of dig the rings in 2D, though the radius is easier to see. Yeah.
The name's Blaze. I'm made of burn.
My name's Sonic. I'm made of Go Fast.
The
Let's
name's
burn
Sonic.
things together.
Go fast.
The only two Wisps actually, there is a third Wisp that doesn't work. The only three Wisps that do not work in 2D sections are Grey Quake, Black Bomb,
And White Wisp.
and
White Energy.
Yellow Drill. Yellow Drill cannot be transformed at all whenever in 2D sections currently at the moment, but that will be a different thing whenever we get around to it. Not looking forward to working on it, but it hopefully will not be that big of a problem. But Yellow Drill in 2D sections will function as he did in Sonic Colors, in which he will be able to drill along dirt and diggable walls and stuff like that. He will not drill along the surface of objects like he does in 3D and like Pink Spike does.
You're glad Blaze is purple in this, but we still have plans to improve her later on down the line.
Yeah, probably after this update.
Yeah, it is.
She does get an improvement simply because she gets the abilities for adding to the speed character for combat, but beyond that...
I know she needs a hover as well to make her stand out. We've got other things we need to do. We're going to do I don't know, Forge 2.0 or something. Where we're just improving Blaze and Metal Sonic and Shadow.
Because the other speed characters need attention.
Yeah, we've kind of only really focused on Sonic, which all of his combat moves translate to all the other speed characters, so it's not like, you know, oh, Sonic's got all this combat moves and the other speed characters don't have anything that like...
Yeah, no, like we retarget their animations, all that, so they have pretty much all the moves Sonic has, except for maybe like the spin slide with neck burst.
Yeah.
And, you know, that can be changed around anyway.
It'll all be visual detail and stuff like that. Probably some animation differences, particle effect differences, probably some sound work and stuff. They need some more individual flair that helps them stand out on their own.
Yeah, but we'll work on that later.
Give Knuckles the wall dash. We actually want to do that. We do want to give Knuckles the wall dash.
Dang it! Actually, you know, I completely forgot about doing that. I've been caught up with all this combat stuff. I forgot to. Damn.
God, Manuel.
I'm slipping.
Yes, I remember that thing about the Sonic Heroes manual. So, as I was saying, I do think anyone should be able to... No, I'm kidding.
I think anyone can cook.
Like I said last time, during the last dev stream, I would be working on Wisps in the 2D section, and hopefully I would get them all done. And pretty much, I got almost all of them done. Grey Quake and Black Bomb will not be difficult to do. We've just been a little bit lazy about it. Once those two get done in 2D sections, all that will be left will be Yellow Drill in a 2D section.
Yeah. And after that, really, the only other thing we could think of in sort of functionality is other than Brain Blast, obviously.
Brain Blast!
We have to get Pink Spike to go around corners.
Yeah.
Or at least attempt to.
Pink Spike and Yellow Drill are probably going to see some minor adjustments and minor reworks to their wall clinging code because it's not the most ideal. It's kind of it's clunky. Like, I don't want to say it, but it's clunky at the moment.
Breaking my heart.
Yeah. Other than the fact that we got to get Yellow Drill functioning as intended in 2D, and the fact that both their wall clean code and Pink Spike's wall clean code, other than like those two major things, the Wisps are pretty close to being done in terms of code. I would say that once we get those couple of things done, the Wisps will be 80% complete, and the last 20% will all be visual work, like visual sound,
visual tweaks, things that we can like visual things. Like, obviously you have to like have a brain for that, but like it's not stuff you have to code, or at the very least it's not like you have to figure it out. You just have to like have a talent for it.
Yeah.
The only other thing that we may have to like maybe figure out is like just minor tweaks to like values and stuff and like balancing it. But I mean, who balances their games anyway? Like, come on.
So yeah, so once we get the 2D for Grey Quake and Black Bomb, which we could probably do later on today, it'll literally take like an hour maybe. If
it'll take less time than that.
Well, I'm accounting for any issues we come across.
It'll take less time than that.
Don't fucking jinx it.
I'm being cocky, I know.
But like, other than that, and the fact that we're running to rework Pink Spike and Yellow Drill a little bit, like I said, once those two things are done, Wisps will be 80% complete. The last 20%, 15 of that 20% will be visuals. The last 5 of that 20% will be bug fixing and probably more object interactions, things like that. But oh yeah, and then there's Blue Cube. I completely forgot about Blue Cube. I don't even want to count Blue Cube into that calculation. Let's just pretend Blue Cube doesn't exist.
Yeah, let's just pretend.
Blue Cube is the best.
Hey, if that's the case, then you work on them.
I was going to.
I don't remember if I showed this off, but Green Harvest got a little dash now. It is a little, which he had in Lost World. I didn't know he had that in Lost World until I replayed Lost World. But
he has a little poot.
Yep, he's a little.
All right.
Oh, excuse me. What if objects were shieldable and could only be used if you had a certain shield? And it example would be grind rail that was on fire, and the only way you could was to have a fire shield equipped or be blaze. The superior option. That would be interesting.
That would be interesting and easy to do, but I don't think that's within the scope of this update. But I'll keep that in mind.
The project in general. That might be more of an individual thing. Like,
yeah, I'm just saying, like, to give you hope, like, if you want to do that for your own project, for instance, that would be hard to do.
That it would not really be hard to do at all. Like,
the hard part is making it balanced and using creatively. Like, I know we're going on a tangent, but like, I can't imagine you doing a system where like it's sort of like a puzzle element where you have to find a switch. Let's say the rails are electrified, you have to like find a power switch to like make them non-electrified or get electric shield. I can see that being very interesting, actually.
You should give Ivory Lightning plugs and outlet things. Yeah, we're planning on doing that. There's still a lot of Wisp objects we got to work with. I figured out that there is a burst cannon in Sonic Colors DS that we should probably think about implementing.
We need to just do cannons.
So what?
We need to do cannons still.
Yeah,
like
cannons in general.
I don't want to think about doing cannons.
A lot of those object stuff, that's next update. Let's not worry about that. That's next update. No. But there's still some Wisp objects we can do.
Yeah, burst cannon honestly doesn't sound hard. It just sounds like the dash ring, except that does it play like an animation where you get? It's like the barrels from like Donkey Kong, where like you get held inside of it.
I don't know. It just explodes and burst launches out of it. I don't think it really has any animations. But there's also the rocket sling. That's what I'm calling it. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, the rocket sling.
What the hell is that?
I didn't know this existed until I was watching a video on Colors. In Sonic Colors DS, there is a sort of redirection slingshot that Rocket Wisp can interact with. It basically it's like, you know, whenever you grab onto a pole and swing around to, like, you know, alter your velocity. It's like that, but with Rocket. So it's a way to get Rocket to move in more directions than just up, really. So,
you know, that wouldn't be hard to do.
So So what do you all think about the Sonic 2020 Bolt game? I know they all took the criticism about the gameplay. Hopefully it works out fine. I don't know if they took that criticism. I don't want to get into it. I really, really don't. There's a lot of things that...
I think he's just talking about the gameplay, not the other stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. We were actually just talking about this earlier. Me and Ray were talking about this earlier.
So we're looking at Sonic Encore. Yeah, and then that got us talking about just fan games.
On one hand, we were talking about Sonic Encore, and then of course, because we're talking about Sonic Encore, that ultimately means that we have to talk about Sonic GT. And
yeah.
We were just talking about how high of a standard GT kind of set for fan games, which I'm not complaining or anything, you know. I think GT is amazing, and I think that standard is something that a lot of people can strive for, even if they don't necessarily meet it, at least they work towards it. How's it going, Kaio? I hope that's pronounced correctly.
Kyle the Hedgehog.
But we were, of course, like the only other games I could see in comparison to GT and Utopia were Utopia and Sonic 2020, but Sonic 2020 to me was more of the cinematic stuff. I don't think its gameplay was, you know, amazing, but at the same time, to be fair to Sonic 2020, me and Reese kind of were joking about it. We're desensitized to Sonic Infinity. A lot of other people, you know, they don't play Sonic Infinity as often as we do because we work on it all the time. I thought its gameplay was just all right. I think it's probably one of the better of the Infinity games, like the fan games.
Well, it's pretty up there considering the engine is using.
Yeah. It's pretty up there.
Like, personally, I think, like, in terms of pure gameplay, like, not content, but just gameplay, like, of course, Sonic Singing Plus is the best, but, like, what Tiger Stone Alex is working on is also really good.
Oh, yeah. What Tiger Stone Alex is working on, that's really, really good. There's the Grand Metropolis Zone. Yeah, Reforge is really, really good. Grand Metropolis Zone, that's also really good. I would argue to an extent they're probably just as good, if not maybe slightly better than 2020. Riftforge is still too early to tell, but I would argue Grand Metropolis is pretty up there.
I think Reforged is better in terms of gameplay, but in terms of content, I can't tell you.
Yeah, 2020 has got them cinematics going, but
yeah, once again, it's not, I don't think it's really like I'm not gonna like bash 2020 on it. I know it wasn't a conversation, so I'm just kind of butting in here, but they had to work with the original Affinity engine, which isn't like bad, but it has a lot of limitations.
Yeah, which a lot of the stuff is custom, and a lot of the stuff is taken from Infinity Plus. But at least they corrected their credits, which is fine.
Yeah.
Shadows accent was a little bit weird. Yeah, they straight up took these egg floppers, and I know both you and Hess worked on them, but didn't they only credit Hess?
Yeah, I believe so. Even though, to be honest, I was the one who originally made the egg flappers.
Yeah.
And then Hess did a little bit of extra tweaking to them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I also updated this momentum homing attack. You can show in the flappers.
Oh, you did?
It just so that you can actually gain height if you're below an enemy.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you made. Oh, okay, I see now. I didn't know you did that.
It's more so fixed than anything. Like it doesn't fix anything. It just makes so it's not awkward. Because before it's like you would gain height and then you just stop going up.
Yeah.
But now it carries some of your momentum.
Oh, another really minor update thing that we did. These hint text bubbles can now have a maximum distance you can walk away from them before they forcefully disappear. So if I walked into this, it'll sit here up until the time is up. Or I can hit it, and then once I get far away enough from it, it will disappear. That way you don't run into an issue of, like, you know, it exists inside of like a level streaming volume, and then you leave the level streaming volume before it.
Yeah, that was a pretty big issue.
So that's pretty simple to set up. All you got to do is turn on this deactivation zone. If you have it off, the zone doesn't even show up, but if you have it on, the zone will show up, and then you can just adjust the size of this zone here, and that's the zone that Sonic or the player has to leave in order for the hint ring to deactivate. It's because I have a 3D model of my OC. I don't know the first thing about Gmod. That's not.
Yeah, me neither.
About it all.
Honestly.
Do you plan on having a separate hint bubble that pauses your gameplay similar to colors? We're probably going to have that be an option in this hint bubble. Like, we're going to say, hey, does this pause the gameplay? And if so, then it will go through the things it needs to pause the gameplay. We don't have that set up yet. I'm also going to set it up to where you can add a voice sample into it if you want, or just an audio sample in general. I meant to set that up earlier, but I just didn't because I haven't had a time to record a voice sample because I've not had the office space to do so.
That would be nice, and I can imagine we can ask Soname to do some samples too, like in a different accent than what she's doing for another character.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned before as well.
We'll have to
yeah,
see.
Actually, yeah, it was your idea. That's my bad.
Does Silver and Shadow will be in it? Yes, they are currently in it. Add time dilation to it. That'd be interesting, but that's more of an individual situation. Like, I think people would either want it to be paused or not to be paused if you hit a hint ring, personally. Like, I think time dilation is something that's more on the individual scale than, you know. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe a lot of people would like time dilation in their hit rings.
Does grinding work now? Mostly they've been in the same state for a while now.
There's really only one major issue with rail grinding that we have just neglected to look at. Oh, by the way, you can also home attack onto rails.
Yeah, it has to be slightly fixed. I'm not sure what the vector math will have to go into it to make it so that change the targeting on it. But the major issue with grinding right now, mostly, other than like going loop-de-loops, is if you go down, you lose speed.
For some reason, if you go down, you lose speed. I don't know why. I feel like there's an error somewhere in the calculations, which is weird because we've not changed the calculations at all, so that concerns me. But we will have to see. Why so much bloom? In
Is there bloom?
Infinity Plus, I don't. Did you turn the bloom on in this?
No, I don't think is it post processing even on?
In this level?
Priest, that's a good question.
I don't think this level has a post processing volume.
Yeah, I don't think it does. At least it's not or at least it's not active.
Yeah, it
Like
is.
because Seagate.
There's nothing in the world outliner. There's no post processing volume in this level, so there is no bloom.
Yeah.
At least
It's
in this
ugly.
level. Can rails be twisted? I mean, technically, yeah.
Yeah, if you ever were to go back to the other debug level, you can show off those rails. But yeah, you can twist the crap out of them.
They don't necessarily look all that amazing sometimes, but yeah, they can be twisted.
Yeah. Not the best idea.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was talking about 2020.
2020. I don't know. I don't make 2020.
Well, he's just saying like, oh, there's so much bloom in the level. Why?
Yeah.
I personally didn't notice, but I didn't play 2020 that much.
2020 does have a lot of bloom now that you mention it.
Dude.
Can you make enemies that sit on rails to attack or shoot one that acts like an immovable obstacle? That would not necessarily be too difficult. It is possible to track. Say what?
I was about to say, technically, we've already done that with the enemy spline.
Yeah, kinda.
It's not attached to the rail.
Yeah.
An enemy moving along a rail spline would not be super difficult because there's a way to track the distance or the length of the spline and your position along it and your position relative to other things and stuff like that. So that wouldn't necessarily be the most difficult to do. Maybe we'll do that. I don't know. We could.
The enemies kind of need like a small rework in some areas anyway.
Yeah.
Mostly detection, firing, and logic.
So to move on to our good old boy Canuck.
Hey, I've actually... Well, it's not actually perfect. I need to work on that topology. Oof.
I remember you mentioned... I wasn't paying attention to what it was you specifically saying because I was tired when he was talking about it, but I do remember you mentioning we were planning on looking at this move, the rapid jab.
Yeah,
Knuckles.
it's just very clunky.
Yeah, we'll probably... I don't know if we're going to get rid of it, but we're at the very least going to look into reworking it. It's a little on the clunky side. I know last time we showed off the stomp.
Yeah, this good old spike.
I think the only thing new we have to show off is this. The fact that Knuckles can yeet enemies.
Yeah.
Yeet!
Sonic can crawl, by the way. It's real.
I cannot uncrouch. I cannot do anything. This whole control locking up thing with Knuckles is actually starting to piss me off a little bit. Because you just randomly do things and your controls will just completely lock up. I don't know what it is, but it's a problem that we probably need to rectify. We need to figure out what's causing it and then get rid of it.
I know it's causing the crouching one. I honestly just need to redo the crouching code. I slapped it together by just making an animation type thing. I just need to rework how it's done and honestly rework the blocking at some point. But
currently,
it did most of the work anyway.
This is the only thing new with Knuckles at the moment is he can lift up enemies. He can't jump because he'll just damage them, and if he punches, he'll damage them. But if you press the grab button again, he'll just yeet them, which doesn't do any damage, but it does yeet them much further.
Yeah, this is just a, as you could maybe call like a tech demo of the grab function. Obviously, it's like, we'll probably still have the enemy appear above Knuckles, and I did actually make a quick animation of him just holding his hands up. So that can be done. No, yeah, it's the hat actually. You're right, Sharon.
It's a hat. Enemies are now hats.
If you de-equip the hat, you can't pick people up.
Tails does not do a swimming animation, but he can fly underwater. We haven't gotten the Tails swimming animation.
I'm working on getting the swimming animation eventually.
He can fly.
Tails is our next subject after we finish Knuckles.
Gotta get Knuckles done first, and then we'll move on to Tails. But Tails can fly underwater, and whenever he does, we're gonna swap the animation to a doggy paddle.
Gonna do a doggy paddle.
Whenever Knuckles glides underwater, he's gonna do a breaststroke. He's not gonna do a normal glide.
Yeah, we'll take care of that.
We gotta get around to it. There's other priorities first.
Yeah. I mean, really, the problem right now, mostly the reason it hasn't been done is because we don't have animators, you know.
No, we don't have people who are just dedicated to animation.
Yeah. If you know anybody who wants to, for free, animate for us and has skills with Blender and Unreal, that'd be great. Because we could do all of that stuff way more easily if we had somebody for that.
We do have someone who can model things and texture things, which I actually gotta check up on him, see how things are going.
I was going to mention him. I just been busy too.
Yeah, I need to check up on him, see how he's going. Because I gave him a task, and I told him, like, there's no rush on the task. Because there's currently not a whole lot we need done at the moment in terms of modeling and texturing. It's mainly animation work that we need.
Yeah.
But there is a task that I have him doing that we can hopefully show off sometime in the near future.
Yeah, but if you want those animations, you know, see if anybody wants to do them.
Cannot wait to play around with this actually. So with my new laptop finally upgrade after like 8 years, Infinity Plus would get some annoying frame drops with the old one. Can breathe in space, can fly underwater, but fire can't be underwater. Nope, no fire underwater.
No.
There's no fire in the water.
There's water in the fire. Why?
Wait, if we're underwater...
How is there fire if we're underwater?
Fire sizzles out. Cartoon logic. It won't happen until it's acknowledged.
Yeah.
Schrodinger's logic. No one will get that.
No, I didn't.
Did you get that, Emmanuel?
What?
I said cartoon logic works on Schrodinger logic.
Yeah, I got it.
Just didn't see it as funny. I see.
I'm also
funny.
like... Yeah, that's the main thing. It's totally because you're not funny.
Yeah, that's the problem. So I'm not a funny person.
Oof.
What?
Just that rigging when I make the character look upwards.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
I am still drowning outside of water.
Oh yeah, that's another bug that was used for the collision stuff.
Water interaction is bugged in general always.
Yeah, we did rework the collision, so that's gonna be a little buggy anyway.
Trio's like, now showcase Shadow.
Showcase Shadow. Oh yes, all the things that we've totally done with both Blaze and Shadow. Not done anything with Silver in a while. One minor thing that's completely unrelated to gameplay, we did set up a new cheat code system. That will be ignored in packaged demos. So
it's
like,
technically
go ahead.
Useful for the demo that will be coming out this Christmas. I haven't, I'll be honest, so we'll reactivate them for the package, I would say, for that.
Yeah. So whenever I do like all these cheats to like alter the HUD and stuff, or refill my boost, or slow down time, or give me wisps, all that's cheat code, and it's a new cheat code blueprint. So.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I've not shown this off in a very long time. Ghost does work, by the way. Just because there's nothing to show with it. You're supposed to completely ignore enemies, but because we don't have anything that differentiates invisible from invincible, oh, that's a problem. I know what's causing that, though. We don't have anything that differentiates between invisible and invincible. Currently, J-Ghost is just invincible and just demolishes everything.
Yeah.
Sometimes we all feel like we are drowning inside water. Stay in your place. Blaze breathing pleasant air is pretty much drowning. All I can say is that y'all doing
Oh, peasant air. Is this like some sort of peasant joke?
peasant air. Is this the air that peasants breathe?
Smells like horses and bread. I guess horses and wheat.
And that's kind of it. The only other thing that we have worked on, and we don't really want to show it off because while we've been working on it, we have broken it, is the level sequencing code. As we've shown off before in the past. Say what?
I'm just laughing because I'm like, yeah.
We've shown off in the past how to add levels to list. There's a boolean here called active that dictates whether or not a level will show up in the level select menu whenever you're in the menu. But there is nothing that really dictates, you know, when to activate a level. So we were working on working on code that will activate levels in a sequence. And technically it worked, but it also didn't work because it turns out that the level loading code, the code that loads which levels are active, is broken. So we can't really test it because we don't know which levels are active because the code that loads the active levels isn't working. But the idea... So what?
I'm just saying, yep, for some reason.
The idea, what we're probably going to do is we're probably going to alter this a little bit. We were just talking about it a little while ago. We're going to add a specific boolean that you can tick on that specifically just sends you to the main menu. That way you don't have to write, you know, main menu and the next level to open. This will be super useful for things like doing a level select versus a campaign select. Like if you select a campaign, you want to go through all the levels in sequential order, versus if you selected a level from the level select, you just want to play that one level and then boot back to the menu. Or if you do something like, you know, a time trial mode, or, you know, time attack. If you complete a time attack level, you want to boot right back to the menu. So simply having a boolean that dictates whether or not you can gets dictated back and forth between the level in the menu rather than having to type in menu every time. That's a variable that can be controlled upon entering the level through other means. Like, oh, you entered through the time attack mode, therefore once you're done with this level, you want to go right back to the level or to the main menu. But essentially what it would be happening is if you complete a level, you want to make sure that you would have this boolean down here turned on where is activate next level, which what it will do is it will see this level that you list here. In this case, it's debug room or the other debug room. Whenever you complete the level, it'll go, hey, I want you to activate this next level, so it will show up in the main menu list, in which case it will cycle through all the levels, look for the one that matches this title, and go, hey, are you active? If you're not, then become active, and then it will reload the level list, so it will show up in the main menus. But it doesn't work, so I can't show it to you. But that's the basic logic of what we're planning on doing with it.
Yep. As for you, as a person needing to code on a scale of 1 to 10, how hard is it to make a level? In terms of code work for a level, it's like at most maybe 2 or 3. You don't actually have to code very much to make just a level.
That's what a framework's for.
Yes.
That's what a framework is for. The rings you see in Sky Sanctuary Zone in Sonic Generations are the exact same rings that, you know, exist in Crisis City. Once you get the framework set up, which is what this is, the actual coding involved in each individual level is not that hard. The only thing that you really have to worry about is custom code for like level gimmicks and stuff, like the mushrooms in Mushroom Hill or the cylinders in Launch Base or something like that, you know?
Yeah, those are always like what is hardest. And like I imagine, like as an aside, I imagine in real Sonic games that takes up a lot of time too, because you can't repeat the code for other things.
Yeah. For the most part, there are some things you could repeat the code. Like there's the cylinders in Launch Base, but there's also the cylinders in Lava Reef Zone Act 2. I'm sure those two have some recycled code. They're not identical, but they're pretty close.
Okay. This says I meant level designer. Well, we don't have a level designer. The level designer is what comes with Unreal.
Me and Reese designed levels. The new Seagate level, me and Reese designed that one. Which is a process. Which, if you guys want us to go through, want us to go through the process that we went through, if you want us to make a video talking about the process of making a level, we could do that.
Yeah.
Just so you
Eventually,
get an
we could
idea.
probably.
Not just be part of our tutorial series, and that can just be like a bonus thing.
Yeah, but just keep in mind, we can't tell you how to make a level. There's no step-by-step list we can give you. Hey, once you're done with this, then you need to do this, then you need to do this. We can't do that. There's no definitive guide or rule book on how to make a level.
Yeah, we can tell you how the individual level objects work and give you tips and guides for hey, try not to do this with a loop, for instance, or don't do this with strings if you want to have a good time. Things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's general guidelines.
What did you say, Reese?
I was just saying, it obviously always depends on the context of the game as well, because a Knuckles level is very different to a Sonic level.
Yeah. So
just what type of game you want: exploration game, adventure game, boost game. There's many different ways to build a level.
Pretty much. So the actual level designing, I think what Emmanuel was trying to say originally is when it comes to the actual creating and the designing of the level, that has very little to do with coding. That has to do with interacting with Unreal's
Unreal's
UI.
drag and drop.
Yeah, Unreal's
and being creative.
Yeah, drag and drop and stuff like that. Maybe after you complete I+. We are planning on doing tutorials near the end of I+'s development cycle.
Once everything's more finalized, we can start working on some general tutorials, and then if there is any small tweaks to the code, you can easily just upload a new addendum video.
Yeah.
Shernoui asked if we have a portfolio. I do not have a portfolio. Reese has a portfolio. I'm assuming Emmanuel has one.
I don't have one. I have a resume.
No, I have a resume too, but I don't have a portfolio.
I think he was actually talking to Michael the Furry Cat, because Michael mentioned that he does 3D animations.
Yeah, if you have a portfolio of your 3D animations, that'd also be very, very helpful.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Sure, you mentioned earlier that I have both Chrome and Edge open. I have Edge open because that's what I use to watch Twitch on. I have Twitch open in here because for some reason Twitch on Chrome does not like to work. It constantly buffers. I don't know why, but it doesn't buffer constantly on Edge. That's the only reason I use Microsoft Edge, is for these live streams. I never use it for anything else.
Microsoft, finally, I'm not useless. Stream's over. Oh no! Clicks out.
Goodbye.
Oh no. Don't have a portfolio. It's always good to make one.
Yeah.
I guess we can talk about what we plan to do. Cause we've talked a lot about ideas and stuff over the past 2 weeks. Because I've been busy, I haven't been able to do a lot of things the Knuckles stuff we were talking about. I just haven't gotten around to doing.
Oh, I have things to fill up the time. I have.
Doing it.
Who wants to do a Sonic tier list?
What?
Yeah, that's
I knew we wouldn't have jack shit to show this time, so who wants to do a Sonic tier list? I wanted to do a Sonic tier list, so I'm just what kind of Sonic tier list can we do? Did Emmanuel just leave? No, he's still there.
Okay, I'm kidding.
We might do a tier list. I wouldn't mind doing it, because we recorded a tier list once and it was really fun, and I have done nothing with that recording. I have to post it at some point. But tier lists are fun to put together. I like doing those.
Sonic Schoolhouse is #1. Do it. Just do it. Just do it.
Just do a tier list. Put Schoolhouse at the very top.
I wonder if we can make a Sonic fan game tier list.
We could do that. That would be really cool. A Sonic fan game tier list.
You'd have to.
If someone wants to compile a Sonic fan game tier list, we might do it this Friday. We could do it on the fan game stream. We could do a Sonic fan game tier list.
I'll tell you now, if you put Sonic Robo Blast in there, Fizz is going to put it near the bottom.
We already know SA2 is at the bottom. Yeah, I would probably put SA2 pretty close to the bottom.
Damn.
This is where we're going to start losing all of the followers now. Oof, controversial.
I
Opinions.
really don't have anything else to show off in the project right now. The Wisps in 2D really didn't take too long to do, actually. But those are pretty much close to done. We're looking at the tail end of the Wisps here, to be honest.
Thank God.
Did you ever finish that essay about why you hate essay 2? No, I haven't. I've been constantly threatening myself to get back to it and then never follow up on those threats. But I would like to finish the script of it by the end of the year. I should probably do that.
By the end of the year, dude, you've got about what? 23 days left?
Yeah, I can.
Shit, actually.
If I took the time and did nothing but worked on it, I could get it done in by the end of the week, probably.
But you see, he's got other commitments, as in making sure we've got a Christmas demo for you guys.
Yeah, we gotta do that. We gotta get the Christmas demo. Oh, God.
We're gonna give Sonic a Santa hat.
Let me just chug more Mountain Dew game fuel.
Is that the stuff you're talking about that at your workplace that one time?
Oh, yeah.
You really like?
Yeah, this is some good
Yes,
shit.
you went out and bought it.
No, I did not go out and buy it. I bought it online.
You had an Amazon drone delivery, robot go through your window and suck at your face.
No, I had to get groceries this morning because we were out of trash bags and milk. So I had to order some groceries online. I'm like, well, if I'm ordering groceries online, then... It was actually fucking hilarious. It was fucking stupid. I put these on the list. I'm like, hey, if I'm going to order groceries, I'm going to put these on the list. And QFC, which is the grocery store I ordered them through, they have an option where, if the store doesn't have it, they'll let you know. That way you can either say to refund it or replace it. And I got a text message saying, hey, they don't have these Mountain Dew game fuel things. Is there anything else in this picture you would like to replace it with? And within the same minute, they immediately went back and oh, no, never mind. We're not going to replace it. We're just going to refund you. I didn't even have time to respond to it. But I looked at the image, and I found it on the image. I'm like, it's right there. What do you mean you can't find it? I zoomed in. I'm like, it's right there. And sure enough, they went ahead and purchased it anyway. Obviously, because I have it, but...
Nice. But now you got your gamer fuel.
Wall jumping in 2D. Wall jumping in 2D works fine.
Yeah. I still have to slightly, not rework it, but change things so that you have more velocity at low speeds when wall jumping. And
we need to rework it in 3D is the problem. Wall jumping in 2D is pretty okay.
Well, okay, I have to do that in 3D. If you're at a lower speed, you wall jump more effectively.
Oh, I changed the wrong one.
How dare you?
Oh, excuse me.
We need to just get rid of that variable. Why do we even have it there?
It was the old one we used to use. Sonic Extreme Unity is alright there. Use. There's so much gamer fuel to go around. Do the SAR, I pull the trigger. Also Fizz, now I'm good, cuz. Yeah. Pull the trigger, I fucking dare you.
Nah, I'm good, cuz.
Do it, bitch, you won't.
He proceeds to know.
Oh, goddamn. Yeah, for the most part, wall jumping in 2D is pretty okay.
Yeah, the wall jumping, if you want to know, the reason why the wall jumping animation looks kind of scuffed sometimes is because the wall jumping code used to be...
It looks scuffed every time. I have yet to see the wall jump animation not look scuffed. Sorry, as you were saying.
So the reason why it looks like that is, well, part of the reason is because we don't have a mirrored animation for one of wall slides because no animators, but also the wall slide code used to all be within the master character blueprint.
Oh yeah.
And we repurposed things, so now it should be in a speed parent blueprint, but it's not. So a lot of animations that's supposed to get, it's not getting properly.
Yeah, that's true. We gotta rework that. One of the few artifacts remaining that need to be reworked into the speed parent. Pretty much all but that has been reworked. I think there's maybe a couple other very, very minor things, but that's one of the things that needs to be put back into the speed parent, which it won't be difficult because I have a function in there that tracks the ear ticks, which that's the only thing that it's on, but
Yeah.
Soggy the Hoggy. I have played Soggy the Hoggy. Sonic Arcus sounds familiar. I have probably played it, but I have also played so many fan games that I honestly couldn't tell you.
It's the boost one. Okay, that doesn't help.
Hey, look at
No,
that!
no,
Grass
no.
is also green. Shocker. I'm so glad I was told
The
that.
grass is orange.
If there is a Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 remake, Sonic shoes will change to Nike too. I would not be surprised.
Change the shoes to Nike shoes.
No, they have to keep the soaps.
But they don't have the license for soaps anymore.
That's too bad.
My dad just texted me a few minutes ago. 20 years ago yesterday, the SpongeBob Christmas special aired for the first time.
Shit, you're right.
It's
What am I doing
20
here?
years ago. We gotta celebrate the SpongeBob Christmas special, guys. It's 20 years old.
And can everybody stop reminding me how old I am?
It's shaping up to be a wonderful holiday. Get me.
Oh, the mighty wall cling.
You can you add strong wind? Only speed and flight characters are affected. That
Oh,
would
yeah,
be a
wind
thing that we're
damage.
planning on doing.
I was always needing to add that in because it's also what the air shield's for. It's to prevent you from being affected by wind.
Yeah.
As it's passive.
Yeah, we're adding in a game mechanic to justify another game mechanic.
I mean, strong winds isn't.
It's like a weather.
Yeah, it's a weather.
It's like a weather.
Yeah.
Boing.
Mhm.
Boing.
Damn, you jump high.
Oh, yeah, it's the air shield.
Damn, boy, he jumps.
Man, mahi.
Like the Mancubus. That's a thick boy.
You saw the video.
Yeah, I did. I watched that whole video. That was a
And
good
then I'm
video.
just sitting here like, yeah, that's a thing.
That's a thick ass boy. Well, should I have a gun? No.
Damn it.
I have a gun.
Damn, not here.
The
Fizz does not know this, but we have already planned to give him a gun.
Christmas update that we'll be giving out will
Oh no.
Honestly, I don't know if it'll have the new Seagate level in it at all. If it did have the new Seagate level, the only thing that we have changed inside of it is
Silver pads.
silver psychopads. That way Silver can play through it. There are no
Silver
Wisps in it
pads.
at all. It wasn't designed to be played with Wisps, and adding Wisps to it would just break the level, which, I mean, to be fair, that's whatever, but it was not designed with Wisps in mind, so if we did release it for Christmas, it would only contain things to allow... The only changes to it would be to allow Silver. The Constitution says guns are right. Sonic Arcus is the Unleashed framework that someone was working on. Oh, I remember that. I hated
As long
that.
as
No, I'm kidding.
oof. As long as the ammunition has eyes, then guns are perfectly fine.
The ammunition has to have eyes and scream their names whenever you fire them. Burst!
Burst! Flamethrower.
What
My
was I saying?
skin.
I was saying something. I don't remember what it was.
Oh, well, I guess it wasn't important.
It's that damn Fourth Chaos Emerald.
Where's that? Fourth chaos. Oh no. Oh no. Oh.
What did you do?
What are you doing?
I put
Reese,
the
what are
wrong
you-
material on something.
Oof. That is a shining boy.
This is eye. I put the eye material on the body.
Oh my god, he's doing mighty stuff. God.
You can't see what I'm
Are you gonna do
doing.
bosses, or are they gonna be up to the player? We're probably gonna create one boss, but we are gonna have boss scenarios. That's what this Eggmobile here is. We've not started working on it yet, but a boss scenario can be set up so that once you complete the boss, it'll complete the level for you, or it might spawn in like a hint ring or whatever. Completing the boss will trigger an event, and from there you just decide what that event is, whether or not you want it to spawn the goal ring or just straight up beat the level, or if you just want it to, like, you have a midway boss, so you just want it to deactivate like a barrier or something in the way. We're probably going to create one boss to show off this feature, but we might create one boss to show off the main feature and then maybe one mini boss or whatever to show off the you know, the other interactions it could potentially have. But other than that, we're not planning on creating like a whole bunch of bosses, but we are going to have the template in place. That way all you got to do is just create the individual bosses yourself.
Hordes with waves like Sonic Hero or like Robot Carnival.
I had an idea about that, but we'll discuss that later.
What would more than likely happen is once we get the template set up, you would just create a child of the template for each individual boss. That way each boss can have its own separate code, not affected by one another. But each one would just use the master boss's template more than likely. That way, you know. You can have multiple bosses and each one being different, but they're not all programmed into the exact same, you know, blueprint.
Yeah, you have to figure out the individual code for having the bosses do different things in AI.
What about enemy hordes with waves like heroes? It was so annoying that game, but a fresh engine and actually cool combat system that would slap. We're planning on adding an enemy spawner, I think. Wasn't that something we were thinking about? Is like
yeah,
a thing that can spawn in enemies. Obviously we have this here, which is goddammit, where is it? This here is a enemy linker. It links all the enemies together, and then links their status to an object. So this object here, once all these enemies are defeated, this object will deactivate. So that's a thing. And we're also planning on...
I think it's slightly reworked.
Yeah, it's got to be reworked slightly. We're also planning on adding, like... We were thinking about adding a... what is it called? A commander unit that, like, when defeated, might destroy the whole platoon or whatever, you know? Something like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of... Yeah, there's a lot of cool ideas with enemies that we will have tossed around and want to do, but we've been kind of focusing on the player characters. Although as we begun working on Knuckles, we kind of split the focus a little bit between Knuckles and enemies, because as you can see, we gave enemies proper shielding and stuff, and
yeah, that wasn't hard at all.
That's about it, actually. But
we seriously need to, like, I know I won't be available very much this week because of finals. But we do really need to start working on enemy AI because it's almost halfway through December.
Yeah.
There's neutral special. There's gun.
Yeah, there is the guns. The fact that we gave them proper weapons, and they can hold the weapon and the shield at the same time and stuff like that. So that's something else we've done with them this update.
Yeah.
Hitboxes or thick boxes.
Thick boxes.
Thick.
I like that better.
What, a thick box?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together. What if a big enemy had a big gun? It could have like a rocket launcher or something like that. That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Be a high priority target.
I imagine adding missile launchers actually wouldn't be that hard because the enemy doesn't have to aim them. The missile just has to do its thing.
Pretty much. Like
the hard part for making the guns was making an enemy properly aim at you and not do backflips at the same time.
Event thick.
No, event thick is what original Oban code had.
I mean, our master character is still a little event thick, if you know what I mean. It's not as bad anymore.
Dummy thick, though.
It's not that bad anymore, but it is a tiny bit event thick.
It's a bit thick.
What you say?
It's a healthy amount of thickness.
It's a healthy amount of thickness.
Yeah, got a sickness for the thickness.
What are we doing with all that ass? A double cheeked up on a Thursday afternoon?
No. No.
Maybe. Laser still works, right?
Wait, what does?
Laser? Like we didn't bork it somehow?
Yeah, laser works.
Okay. Laser and Rocket are ones I forget about the most.
Because they're the first two ones I ever worked on and have since, like, done nothing with them because they're done.
Jeez, when did we like first start working on Laser? Like over the summer at some point?
It's been longer than that. Maybe it was like spring.
Probably.
No, wait, no, it would have to be over the... No, wait, you're right. Because we started working on this update before Sage.
Like sometime in May.
Yeah.
Jeez, it's been that many months.
I could look real quick. That's not what I wanted.
Extra.
Please. I beg of you.
Tier lists, man. We need tier lists.
The first dev stream was released 5 months ago. But which month was the 6th?
He cut out.
So our first dev stream was 5 months ago.
Cut out again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
It was 5 months ago. I'm going to hurt someone if I have to repeat myself again.
Could you say that again, please? No.
Beats Reese's ass across
January,
the internet.
February, March, April, May, June. So it was during the summertime, actually.
Well, that was our first dev stream. Was that when we... Well, okay, I guess so, yeah.
What are you doing with all that double cheek? Oh, I may have already read that one. Unthick Knuckles' fucking hands. No, Knuckles' hands has to stay thick.
Dude, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Animating his hands is a pain in the ass sometimes because they're so big. They actually like collide with his head so fucking much.
Yes, they do. I know because I have animated him. But Knuckles' hands are large. We didn't design him this way. They are just large.
Big. It's not my fault. The design. What's that quote?
Michael, the furry cat. We just want animations of Son Amy. Obviously, Son Amy ships. The looter, the better. I'm gonna shoot myself. What I actually. We'll
discuss it later.
We'll discuss it later. That's what I was trying to say. Just if you have any work you want to show us, just send us all of it if you want, just whatever you feel appropriate, and we'll talk to you.
We have done a lot in 5 months of Zero. Now that you mention it, like just in the span of 5 months, we've done a lot. We have designed an entirely new combat system for Sonic, and then halfway through it, redesigned it.
We've done a lot of it
based on the original design, improved it a lot, coded it and recoded it along with the redesign.
Created a blocking and hitbox system that works with animations.
A very dynamic plugin, essentially a plug-and-play system for the hitboxes. Enemies had been expanded upon greatly. We did add a new character, Silver, which, by the way, Silver is looking really good right now, despite how very little fucking time we have put into him. Holy shit, we have put, like, in an astronomically smaller amount of time into Silver than we have everything else in this update. But yet he's looking
cutting out again, by the way. I'm not sure what's causing it. I think your mic threshold's a bit high.
Can you hear me? Well, my mic is picking me just fine.
Well, I'm not sure if it's just Discord or if it's also the stream. Like, you know what I'm talking about, Reese.
Mm-hmm. I think
I'm not entirely sure.
Fine.
Say what?
It's fine now. You're good.
Don't send your 4D pornography. Oof. But yeah,
please do.
You're correct, Azzerio. We have done a whole lot in the span of 5 months. Does the skydive volume still slow you down the moment you enter it? Yes, it does.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Oh, shit. I messed up.
But it's kind of supposed to. One thing we got to rework is this quick fall. That's kind of something that's in the speed parent that needs to be moved to the master at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Fourth dimension.
Was Sonic 06 PC port beat in the tier list?
Yeah,
you mean Project 06?
That's technically a fan game, so it would be in the tier list.
I would count it.
Yeah. There's P06 as well, which is that other recreation of it.
Is that the one that's like made it in like generations or something?
No, that's Unity.
Yeah.
No, like I thought he was referring to Project 06.
There's two. I don't know. I don't know the difference between them. There's two different fan projects that is recreating 06.
Yeah, there's like two of them.
Project 6 is the only one of my. Yeah, I know there's two of them, but Project 6 is like the one I see. No offense, it's the one I care about.
Project 06, I think, is P06. That's what the P is supposed to stand for, is Project 06, but there is a different one. Now, where's the knock knock? It's Knuckles Fizz.
Just don't get caught. Uh-oh.
Made in
He's on to you.
Nuck, it's Knuckles. Holy fuckles, here comes Knuckles.
This is slightly unrelated, but one thing I do want to do is, like, eventually make... So you guys have played Sonic the Fighters, right?
I have not played Sonic the Fighters. Reese has.
I have.
Okay, Reese, you know how, like, the camera, like, zooms in and, like, changes perspective when we do certain attacks? Like, if we stomp on enemies' toes or do certain grabs normally?
Yeah.
I was thinking about maybe...
Sorry, can you actually do that? Can you stomp on enemies' toes?
Yeah, you can. I think it's a universal grab.
That's cool.
It's a very zany game. What was I gonna say? Like, one thing I think I could do, because we have to do a lot more with the camera. I may add in functions so the camera could go into like certain cinematic modes and like pan around and do stuff like that. Because it would be kind of cool, like if you're, for instance, doing the homing wreck on an enemy, it like spins around. The camera spins around slowly, like in a cinematic way as you do it, or like
I don't know if we
maybe
need that kind of thing.
But we don't need it. But like that's something I'll probably start adding functionality for later, because the camera is like very static in many ways still.
Ezreal asks, "Are you going to use moves from battles? Are you? I presume you mean Sonic Battle for the Game Boy, because we have move inspired from them, but
yeah,
Sonic Battle is obviously a fighting game, and this is not a fighting game. It's just going to be
combat.
Yeah, we're adding combat. So it's not a traditional fighting game.
Playing as Knuckles is the closest you can get to like playing a fighting game in a Sonic game in this engine. And even then, like, we're not trying to make it just like, we had an idea to give like Knuckles a heavy and light attack, for instance, and we kind of just it was really just me who decided, and we shouldn't do that because it just didn't feel right. And you know, the game's still about speed. Like, if you notice, like, Knuckles doesn't, like, when he punches and stuff, for the most part, his moves don't normally take away his speed or, like, hinder him too much. Or if they do, they usually give him some other benefit, like the uppercut causing him to, like, go up higher. At the end of the day, these moves are still platform-oriented. Just that they also do a lot of damage normally.
The end of the gay.
At the end of the day.
A lot of moves that we have come up with, like, generally whenever we come up with a move, we come up with the functionality of the move. Like, what is this move supposed to do? We don't really, like, go, oh, we're just going to add the deep impact move or whatever. We're going to go, like, all right, we want a move for Knuckles that is, like, a piercing punch. A punch that lunges Knuckles forward and can pierce through multiple enemies. Which is what this move here is, what we kind of call the piercing punch. What we like, once we come up with what a move is supposed to do functionally, both in terms of combat and in terms of platforming, like this slam move, that's both a combat and platforming mixture. Depending on how high you are up whenever you use it, the higher the bounce you get out of it, which can, reward a proper, grand slam with the extra height from a up high area. That way you don't have to worry about climbing back up. And it does damage, which makes it both platforming and combat. Once we get that settled, then we figure out like how this move would visually look, in which case we try to take inspiration from Sonic Battle or other medium where Sonic is in situations involving combat. So like for example, the homing launch and the tomahawk spike, those are inspired, those are moves inspired from Sonic Battle, or their animations are inspired from Sonic Battle. Which move was that? The
Sonic Eagle.
Yeah, the Sonic Eagle. Which is a forward flipping kick with his leg extended, which spikes enemies to the ground. That's what that move is inspired by in terms of visuals, but it isn't really, we didn't start out with that. We were like, I want to move. I went to a manual, I'm like, it'd be cool if we had a move that launched Sonic up into the air, and then from there he could spike enemies to the ground, launching him up even further.
Yeah,
and
well,
then
it was funny, like, it was funny because like when we were talking about okay, I'll move on to the air, all of a sudden like Phil's like, holy shit, what if you can hit them again after they go up and then do like a tomahawk spike and they go on the ground and explode and then Sonic gets like a massive dog, like that's
Yeah.
what Fizz did.
That is
like,
actually
holy
what
shit,
I did.
That was cool.
Yeah, that I did actually do that. Initially, it was just the homing launch. And then afterward, I'm like, what if he fucking did it again? But this time it was like 10 times more manlier. And that is what became the Tomahawk Spike. Which I think is still a pretty good move, but you know.
Yeah, like, okay, like it's not like we have a formula for every single move we come up with. But like our general guideline is, what does this move do? Not just, it would be so fucking cool if Knuckles like threw his hat and turned into a, but you know, we don't normally go that route.
Can Knuckles air grab? Yes, actually he can. I can't do it because I'm bad at it, but he can.
No, it's actually really easy to do. If you uppercut an enemy, you can just grab him. Well, unless you're bad.
Yeah, like so. Let me catch up on the chat real quick. Every game is a fighting game if you stretch enough combat. Fight against the AI, fight against the controller. What happens when you dive on an enemy as Knuckles, and can you add treasures when you dive in a wall or a ground? We have considered doing that. Like we could simply turn on an option inside of Knuckles that says, hey, if you're digging, do you want to potentially pull out an item or whatever? And it would just randomize like a ring, 10 rings, maybe rarely it might pull out an extra life or something like that.
Yeah, that could be an easy mechanic to put in, actually.
We have considered it. We just not really mess with it, to be honest. As for the first question, if you dive into an enemy, which I'm assuming you mean the drill dive.
I think it means the drill dive, not the other move I attempted
to
put in.
Knuckles spike. It kind of just hits them, doesn't it?
It just hits them. It's still very buggy because the digging stuff hasn't been fleshed out as much.
I'm bad at this move. Sorry.
Yeah, we have to add in a drop shot. I forgot about that. Or we don't have to, but that's one thing we should probably look into.
Is Knuckles okay? He's not blinking. He doesn't blink. He doesn't have proper idols. But we were looking into making some idle animations for him.
Yeah,
that's something Reese was especially looking into.
Knuckles' eyes are abnormally small. They're like they're like cat eyes. I noticed this the other day. They're very
narrow.
Yeah.
It looks like he's staring into your soul. I'm like, his eyes are a little narrow.
The 1,000-yard stare.
Knuckles is seeing the edge of the universe.
When I added Infinity into Unreal, Infinite into Unreal, all of his textures were replaced, and he's using big textures. Yeah, that's the default. Is Knuckles okay? He's not playing. Will Knuckles throw his hat and destroy enemies and get stuff out of his hat? No.
Definitely yes. Holy shit! Like if that's not in the game, I will quit.
Knuckles becomes his hat is actually Cappy. You throw his hat and you capture enemies.
I feel like that would be a great April Fool's joke.
What you didn't realize is Infinity Plus is deployed. This is Knuckles Odyssey.
Knuckles Odyssey.
Come on and jump up in the air.
As soon as we like just make it, like we put the demo out and it's like Nintendo's like this cease and desist.
Cease your existence. Cease and desist, not desist and cease.
Cease and desist.
Cease and desist.
Comes up and tells you to stop doing
that. Knuckles' hat is completely aesthetic. Well, son, I sat on a banana, of course. Well, son, I sat on a banana, and of course, that changed my life. Obviously, Knuckles wears a hat to enhance his gliding. Not a bad, funny idea. No, Knuckles is not going to capture enemies with his hat. It's funny, but no.
No, that's what SP will do.
As much as Emmanuel would love doing that system.
I just want you to be able to dominate enemies. Make them submit to your... Okay, never mind. I'm going to stop going to that.
Make them submit to your will.
Yeah, know my power.
Know my power.
This is a random thing I was thinking about. I was thinking about changing the slam so that when you hit the ground, instead of it being like a radius, it would be harder to program, but just make it a cone like Doomfist.
That could work.
Like, it'll be a pain in... Like, one thing I have to talk to Reese about is how to make, like... sort of like a mask on the ground, like project a mask onto the ground, into the UI.
The decal straight down.
Well, yeah, but I have to create a decal that has the exact dimensions of like whatever I'm producing, and have it skip, that kind of shit.
Oh no, I thought you were on about a drop shadow. All right.
Yeah, like
enhance if his hands weren't so fucking
like
big.
it would be like Lucio's
Drop
rate or radius he has in Overwatch.
I don't know if Reese has played Overwatch.
I've played a bit.
Oh.
A long time ago. In a galaxy far, far away.
I think that's the update they did to Overwatch like around 2 years ago or a bit more.
Which update?
The one that made Lucio's aura smaller, but it has like a graphic show how big it is.
I think that was last year some point, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I wouldn't have seen it.
Knuckles can take stuff out of his hat. It'll be random. It'll be like an extra ring or an.
That's like his triangle move.
Yeah, I think he meant like as an.
Ew, what the hell's a triangle move?
Oh yeah, that's right. He doesn't technically have one yet. I mean, right now the grab is, but either could be its own separate button, or it could be a context move. Like I won't complain about that.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, that stuff we'll figure out later.
Yeah, currently the grab is mapped to Y. I probably should have mentioned that.
Yeah. That's just it's coincidence.
Also... like, sorry, but one of you grabs.
By the way, that animation is just the pivot animation, or not the pivot. Sorry, the perch animation. I just made it's just upper body.
He's gonna come grab the booty.
We should press it rapidly. It's like. It's like that picture of Vector with his mouth and his hands out. It's like Vector wanting that booty. By the way, you can't grab dead enemies.
Yeah, I know.
One thing I was thinking about doing is, depending on how we do the grab, it would be kind of funny. You haven't played Lethal League, have you?
No.
There's a grab move in that game, and something funny you can do is that if you do kill an enemy, you can press the grab button, it will just quickly throw like the dead enemy away. That's like a taunt almost.
Is this bumper engine? No, this is not bumper engine. Knuckles be like Batgirl booty. How's it going? Odzius? I don't know how to pronounce this name. Odzius?
This is bumper engine. You are correct. This is bumper engine.
Why does Knuckles clip to the ground when you run off the ledge? I presume you mean this. That's just a ground snapping code. Like, this ledge technically isn't far up off the ground enough to recognize that you have left the ground, so it just immediately snaps you.
Yeah. I'm sure if we ever got around to it, we could look into a system of adding, like... like a level object you can add, or some sort of vertex painting that can denote ledges in levels. But we just haven't gotten around to it because it's not that big of a deal normally.
One thing that doesn't help, and I'll have to look into my project because I did it in my project, there is a variable you can change inside of a character's collision box that dictates like how much of the bottom half of the character's collision cylinder is considered, standing. Like this here, how technically Knuckles isn't standing on this. You can see that his mesh isn't, but due to the fact that the collision is obviously just hanging over the edge due to the cylinder shaped of the collision, there is a variable inside the collisions that can change this. Like, hey, you have to have like this much of the bottom half of the cylinder's face covered.
I know what you're talking about.
There is a variable that can change that. And I think that will help to an extent, because if you notice, like, whenever I walk off this ledge, I can get pretty far to the ledge, and because it is a cylinder, that means technically I am walking forward and also downward due to the rotation of the cylinder, which means that I am actually below the surface of the ledge that I was on, which puts me closer down to the surface below me, which it's not a whole lot, but that is like, maybe 100 units or so.
Actually, no, we can't do that. Never mind.
Actually, that's
maybe.
Units, but...
I was about to say, maybe we could also do a check to see, like, if the line trace is further away than like the capsule trace by a certain margin. If it is, it just instantly like causes you to fall. But I think I can see how that can mess up if you're going around loops.
Yeah. There are things we can do to fix it. We could, depending on how difficult it is, we might get it done before this update, or we might hold off until the next update.
Yeah, we're always constantly like updating the quote unquote core framework or like the original Oban code, because there's always stuff to do to make it better and better. We have considered throwing it out with the bathwater, and then we were like, no, we need it.
Well, there'd be
that's too hard.
mock sections. First of all, mock is spelled M-A-C-H, but better. And the answer to that is no, because mock sections are an individual game choice thing. We can set up a system that Kowenji had started setting up, but he never put in the main build. There is a system that can dictate what kind of level you're entering into. And like, for example, if you want a mission-based level, like, you know, a treasure hunting stage, or like collect so many rings or something like that, like you can say, hey, you're entering this level and this is a blank type level. We could make one for like mock state, like, hey, this is a mock state level, or this is a something level, and your physics, your character's physics or movement or controls are changed because of it. We could set up something like that, and then we could just, like, you know, simply say, hey, use this for whatever you want. If you wanted to use it for mock states or something else, you'd have to set it up yourself, but there is something in place for it. But setting up mock state or mock speed sections themselves, probably not.